What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Today we're here with brother Corey Greene. Now, he's out in Hawaii. You want to talk to his brother a little bit about his experiences and his company and just what he can advise a lot of us, especially the brothers, about their opportunities in Hawaii. So, Corey, thanks for joining the show today.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Anytime. Long time.
All right, Corey. So, just for people to know a little bit about your background, you tell people a little bit about you.
My name is Corey Greene, 27, born and raised in northeastern United States. At the young age, once I graduated high school, did a little bit of college. I wanted to graduate in high school, did a little bit of college. That didn't really work. I was kind of messed up in the game, got kicked out of the crib at an early age, like around 19-ish, 20-ish. And I had to figure out what I wanted to do. Thankfully, I had joined the Air National Guard in New Jersey. And with that, I was able to up my resume. I got into computers. I'd always been an avid fan of computers and video games and things of that nature. I'm a huge techie, things of that nature. But I decided to actually pursue that full time because it allowed me to pursue a certain level of income without having the full degree, without having my undergrad. So I started doing that. By the time I was 24, 25, I was making about $75,000 to $80,000 a year, just completely off of my certifications and my security clearance.
Now you created a company, and this company took you to Hawaii, correct?
Well, I'm in the process of standing up to my contracting firm. Plan on, in the future, moving forward with that and kind of competing. Right now, I'm actually working a contract for another company that's based out of San Antonio. But I'm in the process of standing up my own situation so that I can employ and, compete with these other bigger contractors.
All right. So you said you was in the East Coast, and you mostly grew up in the East Coast, correct?
Right. New Jersey area.
All right. So let's talk about the differences with, you growing up in New Jersey versus what you saw when you got to Hawaii. Well, what is the differences?
Well, in terms of the demographics, obviously that's the biggest. There's a lot of Asians, a lot of Caucasians here. There's not that many brown people here. The majority of black people that are here are connected to the military or the DoD in general, like myself. And a lot of the black people that you see here, they tend to be less well off economically. I noticed that a lot of the brothers, specifically the black males, are homeless. And I did hear that rumor that a lot of these other states, they send people out here. They provision these people to come here just because the weather is more temperate and it's nicer, for these people to be in. But the attitudes are different here as well. People are a lot more laid back. People are a lot more friendly. It's not like the East Coast where the culture is like, tunnel vision. I'm getting to where I gotta go. Get the hell out of my way. People stop. They talk to you. They see how you are. They care about you and things like that. But as a black male, as a young black male, you're going to have your issues everywhere you go, and that's something that I think a lot of us kind of try to turn a blind eye to. We think we're going to come to these exotic locales and think that everything's going to be okay. And that's really not the case. And I'm not really here to vacation or recline. I'm here to get my money, collect my check, and up my skills.
Okay. So what kind of issues, that brothers could run into? Because, I have this motto that I really don't like to be anywhere where we're 1% to 2% of any population, because it raises people's ability to be bold and try something. But you tell me, you there, what have you experienced in that area, somebody maybe being discriminatory or whatever?
It's the usual, man. People on the job, they're trying to give you a hard time. They're trying to keep you from doing your job. They don't want to give you the tools to get your job done as best as you can. There's a lot of assumptions about your character as a black male. There's a lot of what I look at it as, for Dr. T. Johnson, he actually did a great video on this, but I look at it from the perspective of, when for example, if I'm on an elevator with somebody, right, let's say a white man and an Asian woman, or a group of women, non-black women, there's the sense of fear, right? Like there's something that you're going to do to them. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but I feel like I'm a relatively harmless looking dude. Feel like I look like a regular dude. And I look at situations like that, and a lot of brothers need to talk more about that, is that I look at that as a form of sexual assault. I look at that as a form of dehumanization of black males. And there's a lot of that here, particularly where I'm at. I do live in Waikiki, which is like, I guess, the premium area to be in. So, you know, you're dealing with a lot of that. Just like any time when you're in a situation where you're in these upper crust areas, you're going to deal with a lot of discrimination, a lot of people looking at you like, why are you here? You know, what are you doing here? As if we're not capable of doing things and accomplishing the same things that these other groups are doing, you know. So it's interesting. It's very interesting in that respect.
Yeah, see, I like when people attempt, and I use that very loosely, attempt to ever act that way with me, because for me, you know, I let them know real quick I'm not that brother, you know, that you can look at crazy like that and think like, why are you here, or you know, who let you in the door or whatever. Now let me see if I'm right about this. When you are out, and especially, I'm not saying the Asian people have done this. I say, but you know, have the white folks walk up to you and say, "Hey, well, what you do for a living?"
Actually, you know, I've heard these stories before, but actually, you know, white people are not comfortable with younger black males, so they'll do that with maybe with somebody who's older. But I think a lot of the assumptions, a lot of the time, especially with the promoted culture, the socially engineered music that we have these days that they're promoting, I think that the automatic assumption with younger black males is that we're all thugs, you know, so they're not really that comfortable with approaching you. So I haven't experienced that, but I have heard older brothers who have experienced that. Yes.
Okay, they'll walk up to brothers and try to find out what they got going on.
Right. Well, like I said, I don't experience it because I guess for whatever reason, there's a certain level of fear, you know, a certain level of assumption. But you know, I'm sure that it does happen.
Well, you know, brother, when you mentioned about the elevator thing, you know, that is that is a real thing, man. Because you know, I had went to run an errand for my wife the other day, and I had to come down in the elevator. I usually don't like to be in the elevator with anybody too much. I like being in there by myself personally, and for sure, I don't like being in elevators with white women, or what we say here, mzungus women. I don't, not because I'm going to do them anything. I just don't like being around them so much in that environment. Just because of the tensions that happens with that. You know what I'm saying? There's been times I've seen them like, nah, I'll wait on another elevator, because it's just, you know what I'm saying? And brothers have dealt with so many different things with that. And not just them, because I had covered a story where a brother in the UK, you know, this Asian female was acting a fool with him about the elevator.
I saw that. Yeah.
You saw that?
Yeah, I don't understand how brothers are so patient. I don't have the patience or the time for it. You know, I'm gonna let you know very quickly what the situation is and what's going on. And like you said, I try to, but then at the same time, it's like, I'm not going to lessen myself or lessen my comfort level to make anybody comfortable. Particularly because 9 times out of 10, whoever that person is, they're not as accomplished. They haven't achieved as much as I have, and they're not trying to accomplish as much as I have. So I'm not going to dehumanize myself to make anybody else more comfortable. If you don't like the fact that I'm on an elevator, get off the elevator, take the fire escape, you know?
Oh yeah, I agree with you on that. I say just I'm at this stage in the games. I just try to what's the word I'm looking for? I'm always trying to keep myself at peace, and I don't really want to be around a lot of people, especially with Corona, because certain people are more prone to Corona than others. So I just think the best way for me to social distance is sometimes just socially distance.
Exactly.
And that's just how it is. At least for me.
Right.
I don't. I mean, I hear what you're saying. And some people would be on that, but man, I'd just rather be by myself half the time. It's definitely in certain instances. Right. I can control me and my environment, but when other people come around, you know how that goes. But I heard in Hawaii, speaking of that coronavirus, that they was like locking people up behind that out there. Is that's what's going on?
I haven't seen any of that going on. A lot of the bars and things are closed. They close around 10. I'm pretty sure that's standard across the United States. I personally haven't seen anybody get locked up or get accosted or anything like that. The tourism has gone down exponentially.
Of course.
So I think they're being a little bit more smart in terms of how they're handling people who are coming here, because that money is tight right now. That being said, you got to take whatever I say with a grain of salt, because I'm working a lot.
Because it was a few stories actually, where people had got out of quarantine, they actually got arrested, by the police over there. And just had this white couple that tried to go back over there, and they knew they was Corona positive. And soon as they got over there, they locked their behind up, charged them.
Yeah, they're gonna, these white supremacists, they're gonna do what they do.
They, so So when you go, like, say, young brother, let's say want to go over there, and the young brothers like to go out, or even the young, sisters as well like to go out. Have you went out in the nightlife over there?
Yeah, I have. Like I said, I live in Waikiki. Kalakaua is like the main strip where they have Tesla and Louis Vuitton and Birkin bags, and I know chicks and all people are into that right now. Mm-hmm. So if you want to, hit that up, hit the strip up. Kalakaua is pretty cool. Kohio's pretty cool. This is where all the money's at and all that good kind of stuff. If you're into that, like Fifth Ave, Park Ave type stuff going on. North Shore is like the generic Hawaii experience, the hulas and all that good stuff, the chicks doing the dances and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, like I said, I'm here to work, and we're in a different situation. So I'm not really here to party and BS. And again, like you said, being in Hawaii, we're not a huge percentage, and I'm not really comfortable partying with a lot of these other groups of people. You don't know what they're on. You don't know what they're into. Drugs are big out here. Sex trafficking is big out here. So I tend to avoid a lot of that type of stuff just because I have a purpose in being here.
Yeah, that's very smart. Until you at least learn, if you can be cool with a couple of brothers and them out there, if you get cool with them. If not, well, you just stick to doing you, right? But do you see yourself like just how long you just seeing yourself there for work, or you just seeing yourself maybe you can even stay out there longer?
I don't see myself staying here long term. Just because, again, it's big. Being around people who look like you, from a perspective, particularly for Black males, because we're looked at as a threat more so. I think that being around people who look like you is definitely important for your mental health. I'm here right now to make money and accomplish the mission and up my skills, like I said. But no, I don't see myself being here long term. If I happen upon some property that I could get to rent to people here, that I would do. But anything outside of that, long term, Hawaii is not an option. No.
Yeah, man, that just, like I say, I look at the pictures of it. I haven't been there yet, whatever. I know people, some of my people I know that's been vacationing out there for, they go a week or so and they come on back. But I just never really knew the demographics, on the ground. So you mentioned Asian, or you mentioned like Samoans or Pacific Islanders, or which one did you mention?
There's a lot of Samoans, Polynesians. They tend to be the poorer people. The more people. When I say Asians, I mean primarily Chinese, Japanese, the more East Asians.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't, the islands here were colonized, right, by Christian missionaries. So the people that are native here, the darker, the brown, the black people, basically, because I seen a couple people out here who look just like me, nappy hair and all that, but they're, they got a little bit more orange tinge to them. But I say all that to say that, it's mostly the East Asians who come here with the money and with the nose in the air, and it's similar to the same things that their same strategies that they have in the Caribbean and in Africa.
Okay, so like you said, some of the people, have you tried to talk to some of the people, like you're talking about the Samoans, the Polynesians, see what's up with those communities, just kind of like in your travels? Yeah,
they're not a fan. They're not a fan of the mzungus, as you like to say on your channel. They're not a fan of them at all. But again, they're not particularly like, and I think a lot of us as Black people, we get that confused. A lot of us assume that because maybe people don't really like white people, that automatically that means that they like us, when that's not the case, right? People are going to acquiesce to whoever the dominant society is, whoever the economically dominant group is, and even though they might not like these people, they're still going to capitulate because this group of people has the money and the funds and the power. So I say all that to say, like, they're not fans of white people, but they will work with white people, and basically same as all of us.
Okay. So what I'm asking is, have you had a good run-in with them? I mean, I know they may not like the mzungus, but well, we get why. But your run-ins with them, like the times you dealt with them, I mean, how did they, like you say, you're a brother out there?
Yeah, it's always cool. It's always pleasant. It's always a good. I mean, they're like I said, they're chill, they're laid back, they're good people for the most part. They're family people. Yeah, I haven't had any bad interactions with them personally, no. And the food is real good. Real good. If you're into thick women and stuff like that, I would definitely hit some of these Polynesian and Samoan women up because they're good for that. But like I said, I've had nothing but good interactions with them.
All right, brother. Well, like I said, it's good that you getting yourself established, traveling a little bit. So do you plan on traveling? We always ask this question to the continent, or have you been there?
I haven't. I plan on hitting up South America next year, early next year. And I'm not sure what the travel situation is like in southern in Africa, but I definitely want to hit up Nairobi. You know, I definitely want to hit up Johannesburg. I got a couple of places in mind that I definitely want to hit up because I can only imagine what the energy is like out there.
Oh man, you're gonna enjoy yourself. Like I said, you're gonna be happy that everywhere you look around is like at least more than 90% of the population for sure. Everybody look like you. Everybody, you know, that own things. You know, it's like look like you. It's no, so you don't feel black anymore. That's
Right.
like I think the most freeing thing about it. In this country, you feel like you black. When you
Right.
go over there, you don't feel black. You just feel like you're a human being because everybody look like you. So it's not that you noticing, oh man, you know, like the stuff you're saying about the elevator and all that stuff like that. No, in the elevator gonna be people look like you.
Right.
And then let me tell you the difference too, brother. When you see them Indians over there, the Chinese, even the mzungus, they actually know their place. So they don't give you the same attitude that they will give you here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the importance of that is because like for Black Americans, I mean, a lot of us, our psyches are real messed up. You know, like Dr. George, she talks about the post-traumatic slave syndrome.
Oh yeah.
I think part in addressing that is just being around people who look like you. You know, that's just how things are supposed to be. You know, it's more natural. And I saw some of that work you did with O'Shea back, you know, on the Kangana channel. And that definitely inspired me for sure to, you know, hit up Uganda and all that. Because some of them sisters out there are very remarkable, to say the least. So, you know, I will be out there in the coming months.
Yeah, do that, brother. I mean, I tell every young brother at least one time. If you don't go, some of you brothers may go and say, forget it. I'm gonna go establish it because the business you're doing right now, they need that on the continent, and it will be so much easier for you to get tied in, and you would be the boss. You can hire the locals to do the work. You're gonna find out how much further your money will go to create those businesses, and then the crazy part is you can get so tied in with the government. You know, real quick, all you gotta do is get on the ground long enough for people and find out who's who, and you'll see how the system works out there. And like, man, I can start my business right here and just blow up. Because that's what the Chinese and all these other people are doing. They come into the continent, blowing up Black Americans. They want to, you know, I don't know why. I'm talking about at least I believe the brothers and sisters that got the businesses and things like that, the skills. I believe we should go first and get a lot set up. And then once we get a lot of things set up, I think the other brothers and sisters should come behind us. I just kind of like what I believe should happen. But you one of them brothers that they need on the continent for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's the long-term plan. You know, assuming I go over there and the energy is great, you know, that is the long-term plan because we do need to build up because it's about time for us to start competing, you know, period. So
yeah, well, Corona kind of, you know, slowed down some of that traveling because, like I said, I was so mad because, like, when I went the first time, when I went 2 years in a row, for instance, I take the best mental health break when I get to the continent because you don't realize how stressed you are, brother, until you leave this place. You really don't realize that because everywhere we go, we always got to be on that constant, you know, keeping our head on the swivel, you know, worrying about these freaking race soldiers. It's always something, you know, when we stress. But then when you get out of this country and then you go, like you say, to the continent and you don't have that stress on you no more, you don't realize like how free that is. Like I say, when you go, you're going to see what I'm talking about. Every time I talk to a person that went and they say, oh yeah, I felt like just free. I felt just, you know, at peace, you know, it just, and you feel like you belong there. At least that was my experience. Cause here I always feel like, you know, you get tension. You always, there's some sort of war here.
Well, you know, a lot of the time it just seems like people are looking for these other groups are looking for issues. So like, yeah, I mean, it would be great to get over there and meet some people and figure things out. And maybe, like you said, get clicked in with the local government so that we can start helping our people out. You know, that's always the goal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then I always tell people, you know, when you talk about going to the continent, for instance, they think you just go uproot everything and go over there and never come back. Like, dude, you can't go back and forth. You never give up your new passport. I mean, it's just, but some people take the extremes because sometimes a lot of us fear.
Well, a lot of us are fearful. A lot of us are defeated. Now, I mean to cut you off, but a lot of us are fearful. A lot of us are defeated. And I learned a long time ago, you know, being homeless at a young age, I don't have time for the fear. I got to do what I got to do to make this money and do what I can to move forward with life in as best manner as possible. And for Black males specifically, we need to be looking for power, not women, not, you know, whatever. We need to be looking for power. We're being treated the way we are because we're not looking for power.
Right.
Fighting for power. Number one, period. Power, period. That's it. You know.
people that's looking for power don't use the terms diversity and inclusion.
Right.
Okay. So you tell me you the chief diversity strategist. I say, oh, okay. So you the chief beggar then. Right. I mean, I'm not trying to disrespect you, but that's what you're doing. You're begging to be a part of what white people got.
Well, there's an industry in America for that, right? Like you just did a video on the Biden tapes, right? And how just disrespectful and gangster he was during that conversation. And that's very telling. And I'm very confused. And I haven't heard any of these Biden supporters speak out about that. I'd love to hear somebody on the
they mad. A lot of them actually are mad the tape came out.
Right.
They didn't want that out. They were saying, I seen one of them. I'm talking about black folks now. I'm not talking about white people. Right. One of them was saying, this is dangerous for this to get out because, if he can't speak freely without worrying about, wait a minute, hold on. If he can't speak what he say behind closed doors to a group of people in front of everybody, well, maybe he shouldn't be saying it. But no, he showed it. He showed this. I mean, really, he was just being Joe Biden. He wasn't acting like that little old frail man and like laughing at Donald Trump and trying to act. No. He acted like classic Joe Biden. And I'm glad he did it. I'm glad.
Yeah, I mean, this is the dude who was like, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. And given his
and black folks thought that was okay.
Yeah, so we got a lot of defeated people in our community, and unfortunately, we're gonna have to push them to the side. Unfortunately, brother,
that's what's hard for a lot of black folks is that you have to accept that some people just not gonna make it. I've said it before. I would believe sometimes 2/3 of it's just not gonna make it. Because if you say fear, then like I said, that religion black folks have of white Jesus and the Democrats, that's their religion. Anything outside of that, you the devil in the black community. So at least at my age now, I don't have that kind of time to be dealing with it personally. I just don't have it. Maybe when I was in my 20s, I could have dealt with you a little longer, but now, no, I can't do that.
For me, it's like a lot of us we're choosing to be this way, and there's too much information that's out here. Neely Fuller Jr. He has a great book that he's written that breaks all of this down. I mean, we got to really, like Neely Fuller says, if you don't understand white supremacy, everything else is going to confuse you. I'm sure you've heard this before.
Oh, yes.
That should be the first thing that should be what we're teaching these young black kids from day one.
Yes, sir. Because, we don't, we should be instructing our children. Like these folks instruct them their children into white supremacy at an early age. These kids badly can say words, but they sure can say the N-word. I've covered many videos of them doing it. Badly can talk, but they sure can call me and you the N-word. So they teach white supremacy at an early age. We don't teach, empowerment of our community, love for self, not allowing that low self-esteem to get on our children. And a lot of times that comes from home because we don't give our children, the right affirmations. We don't let them know who they really are as a people. And that's why we make certain decisions in society, and we believe that the Will Lynch letter continues, where he said that we got to keep them trusting us, depending on us, loving us, and that's a lot of black folk. You tell black folk about doing for self. You tell black folks about hey, we need to, like you said, get power. Oh, well, that's just some bootstrapism. Oh, well, everybody can't do that. Well, stay out my way then. Because I want to link up with the brothers that want to own something, the sisters that want to own something, the people that want to have power, not diversity and inclusion. Like I said, I'm not trying to get that. You understand what I'm saying? They say a seat at the table. Say I don't want to sit at your table. I want my own table, and you come sit at mine.
And what's funny about that is that we're talking about a table that we built from scratch. We're talking about a table that we designed and built from scratch. So I don't even understand how you want to sit at the table that you built. You should be taking that. You should be taking that table. So it's sad, man. It's very sad, but it's a mindset thing. A lot of us have this ingrained inferiority complex for numerous reasons. And I think that that's something that we should, like you said, they teach the kids from a young age how to maintain white supremacy. We're sending our kids to these same schools and they're teaching these kids how to be the underlings and the servants of white supremacy.
Well, you know why a lot of black people have an inferiority complex? Do you know why?
Well, I think there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons, but I'd love to hear what you think.
It's just very simple. You only feel inferior because you value white validation. If you didn't value them and what they think about you, why would you feel inferior?
Right.
I
Right.
don't value their validation. I don't need it or anything. That's why I don't have inferiority complex. They're not better than me. I mean, at all.
Right.
You know, whether they said it or not, they're not. So I don't have no inferior. I can go any place right in the middle of them, okay, and I won't feel, oh, why are they looking at me? Matter of fact, when they look at me, I'm gonna look at them right in the eye. I'm gonna keep staring at them in the eye until they turn away from me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let you know I'm not that brother that's gonna put my head down or start, you know, bucking my eyes and say, you know, I don't want to make Master Charlie, you know, uncomfortable. No, I'm gonna look right at Master Charlie eye and say, I'm not that black person.
And then we really, you know, when you actually start having conversations with these people, just to try to understand, you know, where their ideology comes from, a lot of the time it's not based in anything intellectual or logical. You know, it's based in just them managing to be on code. Really, that's just what they have, a culture of staying on code. I don't know what it is. I don't know how they managed to be able to do it, but it's like this hive mind that they have, and they perfected it to the point where it's not about rationality, it's not about logic, it's about maintaining dominance. And I think that we need to start not replicating that, but we need to start getting on code, for lack of a better phrase.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, it's they are not together as most people think they are. If you study them enough, they're not together at all. But they are together in the hatred of me and you. That's
Right.
for sure. They together on that.
Right.
When it comes to some killing and getting money, or they for the most part they together on that. But they will do their own dirty. I've seen it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you know, I
They do their
get
own dirty big time. You know, about money. Like feels like Trump's situation. Trump don't care about all them people that like him. He can care less about any of the people. He's just gonna use them because they rally behind hating black folk and anybody else outside of them. After that, Trump will go to his good life, and they still ain't gonna have nothing going on.
Well, Trump, yeah, I mean, dude was a Democrat and an independent for the majority of his career, but he put those ads out there for the Central Park Five, and he's discriminating in terms of housing, and he's discriminating against his black accountants and all these other types of situations. So yeah, I mean, when I say in code, yeah, they are on code when it comes to the racial dynamics. It seems like with us, for whatever reason, we want to play games and we want to deny and we want to have our heads in the sand. It's 2020. It's time to understand the situation and start addressing it.
Yeah, well, like I said, if you got looking for white validation and you know you praising white Jesus, not the real one, and you worshiping Democrat, that's your Achilles heel right there as a black person. And most of the people that I know that's about that life and trying to, you know, progress the black community, they're not on those three things I just mentioned at all. They actually free black people. You know what I'm saying?
That religious thing is important. And you mentioned the 2/3. I don't know if you spoken. I seen you've had some Israelites on your channel.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, I think that those brothers, they have the right idea, especially when it comes to just the rationality of the situation that we're in, and how it really, for the most part, it just doesn't make sense. I think the curses and that, a lot of that stuff has a lot to do with it. And I don't want to get too, I don't want to get too much into the religious dogma on your channel, but I think the white Jesus thing is just not real. It's false. Caesar Borgia, Google it, you'll see. You know, the evidence is there. You know.
Yeah, well, we talked about that many times, you know, on my show, and just, you know, talk about that, you know, description of Christ, and like you said, if you believe in an idol, because you know, white Jesus is the idol of white supremacy. That's the God of white supremacy. Like I told people, their God say it's okay to kill, steal, and destroy, and discriminate, and their God says that. That's why they enslaved us, because their God says okay. Not the real one. The real one would say, no, you can't kill people, you can't steal, you can't destroy, you can't rape, you can't pillage. Obviously, you know, they're not following the real God of heaven and earth, right? So, you know, why would you follow anything that they're worshiping? I mean, that doesn't make sense. I mean, just for black people. And on the continent too, brother, you go over there, you're going to see some of them on that white Jesus too. And you're going to shake your head. Oh, boy, I shake my head at that.
I seen some of those videos that you did where it's, you know, I guess one of the sisters up there was marrying one of these mzungus, and, you know, they do this whole party and they had him in the tribal clothes and they doing a whole bunch. I'm just like, man, that's.
Oh yeah, some of them over there, bro. Like they some of them are worse than us over here with that white validation. I mean, you should see some of them when they see the mzungus come around. Oh my God, their eyes light up. Some of them, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking at it, and they'd be a dusty dude too, a dusty dude from Europe somewhere coming in there with them cargo shorts on, dusty looking shirt. I mean, you see the dust coming out of his hair. You know what I'm saying? and they like, oh, you know. But now when they see Black Americans show up, you know, and they see we coming more and more, you know, their attitudes are a little different, and they starting to gravitate, you know, to us, because before we were really going over there like that, only them, but they normally going over there, you know, to trick off, you know, that's what they mostly go over there to do. You got certain African countries, especially them people from the UK coming down there and you know, being pedophiles and all of that.
Yeah, I saw that. A lot of them doing the sex traveling, going.
Yeah, man. So that's why I always say that we need to get down there to shut a lot of that mess down. Because trust me, when them folks see us, it's a different mindset. When they see us, they know that we're not them. Immediately when they see us, we ain't got to talk. We have like a look and the energy about us. And I was telling that story about in Kibera, where I seen two of them mzungus females was in, you know, the slum, and they're walking around like it's a zoo or something, taking pictures and all of that. And they were so excited to in the slum. And I'm sitting up there just watching them, and I just cut them a look, you know, and boy, they see me, their eyes got like big when they see me. I didn't say a word. And they just kept staring at me like was shook. And so African Tigress is right there, and she's like, why they were looking at you like that? Like they really got shocked to see you. I said, they already know who I am. I said, not because I was that YouTube, but they already know Black American energy when they feel it. They know. Same thing happened in Ethiopia. They had some in there. They saw me walk in. I couldn't look at them. Like what were you looking at? Like that. And then turn my head from me. Like, oh shoot, where this Negro come from? Another instance, I had the original, you know, Black Panther Party shirt when I was in Ethiopia, standing there, and you see one of them come by. They saw that Black Panther Party shirt. I mean, that chick eyes got huge. Like she was just, what the hell? Like they showing up now. That kind of look. You know what I'm saying? So,
and well, really, what I want to touch on that for a second. I think more Black people they know what to look at and tell your ideological stance. But for whatever reason, we don't. You know, we'll see these Trump flags, and we'll see these Blue Lives Matter flags, and we'll see these "Don't Tread on Me" flags, and we seem to think that these are still people that we can you know get along with. You know, so we need to start paying a lot more attention to the symbologies of these situations. You know, that's something that we just don't do for whatever reason. And since I got the screen here, yeah, I mean, again, we need to start studying not only yourself and your history so that you can address that inferiority complex, but also study your enemy. You know, it's something that's not going on right now. So we need to make that pop off, you know, so that we can do better. You know, it's imperative that, you know, we as a people get serious, you know. Yeah.
I'm with you 1,000% on that, brother. So let's say before we wrap up, brother, you tell people how they can get to, you know, maybe you have a email or Instagram or something. Maybe somebody get in contact with you. They want to ask some questions about Hawaii or different things you said in the program.
Yeah, you can email me at the Vanguard, TheVanguard @gmail.com. Once again, that's the Vanguard, TheVanguard. I have my channel up and running once I get fully, you know, settled in and get my equipment and all that good stuff. You can email me at that, ask any questions that you want, and I'll have some media coming out pretty soon, within the coming days. So look forward to that. There'll be a lot of historical information, and I'll be doing a lot of breakdowns on contemporary issues as well, but from a historical perspective. So look out for that. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you can go and check out our brother's email if you have any questions for him. I'm pretty sure he'll get back to you in a timely fashion. So, Corey, thanks for joining us on the show today, brother. We greatly appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.